Hello, good afternoon. Happy Friday, January 10th. This is Kelly from Kelly's Coffee and Crime Chat, and I am here to bring you another true crime case. This will go up early for my Patreon and Spotify premium subscribers, and it will drop on next Friday, which is, I think, the 17th, if I'm not mistaken. I am drinking Java Mama peanut butter silk pie, and it is very, very good. It's one of my favorites. We just dropped Elvis's birthday was 2 days ago, and we just dropped the Elvis banana bread coffee, which is new. And then you also get a print of Elvis included in that, plus the coffee. And that is on there. And there's also the new Java Scout, which is like the Girl Scout cookies. The peanut butter patties and the Java foil are the two I got. Java foil is so good. I think it's supposed to be like a sugar cookie. I got it last year and it's one that is so good, but it's hard to explain. I should have just wrote down what it says on the site, but there's a thin mint one and then there's a couple other ones that are on there. I would drop that link in the show notes if you want to check out Java Mama or you just want to go on the site to shop. It is clean and green and air roasted. Very good. I am starting messing with a new recorder, so I hope the sound is good, and I'm going to try to do some theme music before. I'm trying to find, I had to find an app where you combine more than one recording because I want to do theme music, and there's sometimes where I really want to do, if I have to stop recording, and then I can save it and then continue on a second recording. I was not able to find an app that did that until now, which is I'm using the AVR app, which stands for Awesome Video Recorder, I think. So anyway, I wanted to talk about this case. My sources are uh, oxygen.com and wikipedia.org, and there was also the Dateline episode that I had watched. It's been on many different episodes or different shows and documentaries, and boy, it's one that really has you questioning what is right. So, it seemed like there was something else I was going to mention at the beginning of this, but I want to thank all of my supporters and listeners. Definitely. And if you cannot support on Patreon, you can always just, drop me a review or rate the show on Spotify. Uh, the actual reviews are done on Apple Podcast, where you can write them out. So this is the case of Nicholas Brady and Haile Kifer. And when I first heard about this, when I first started watching the Dateline, I'm going to tell you right away, when I first started hearing about this, I'm like, well, they shouldn't have broken the guy's home. But you know what? When you get more into the case, you really find out what actually happened. Then you start thinking, wait a minute, I shouldn't have said that. So right when you start hearing about a case, it's like you got to hear the whole story. And that's true with any. Guess not. Okay, so here we go. Now, Haile was born. Oh, another source I had was findagrave.com. So a lot of their information I got from them, from that site. So Haile was born October 17th, 1994. She's the daughter of Jay and Jenny Brady. Brady is Jenny's maiden name. Um, she was a senior at Little Falls and loved to wrestle since she was in kindergarten. She was into gymnastics, softball, and diving. Also, she loved hunting, fishing, and camping. Very outdoorsy and athletic. She worked at many jobs, including KFC and the Falls Movie Theater. Nicholas was born March 21st of 1995. He is the son of Jason and Kimberly Brady. He was in his junior year of school. He also loved to wrestle like his cousin, and he also loved to fish, hunt, and camp. And he loved working on cars and four-wheelers and was into taekwondo and fitness training. Now, these two seem to be very fit, into health and fitness, and so they were in pretty good shape. 64-year-old Byron Smith, this is the one that was responsible for this whole thing. He was also a resident of Little Falls, Minnesota, never married and retired from the U.S. State Department. He was a security engineering officer. I got to get a drink of coffee just a second. I have to get a drink of coffee while I'm doing my coffee and crime chat. Okay. Byron claimed that he had been a victim of burglary over 6 times in the past few months. Now, this was before Thanksgiving of 2012 when this took place. He claimed he'd been a victim over 6 times, but the police found evidence of only 2, and one of them Byron didn't even know about. It happened in his detached garage, and he didn't even know about it until the police told him about it after all this happened. So really, it was only one burglary that he knew about, according to the police investigation on this. $4,000 was stolen, and his dad's POW watch. I think that was one thing that really set him off. Was that that can trigger somebody when it's some personal items, and it was plus he also had some coins from a collection that he had that was taken and a chainsaw. He started arming himself inside his house on a regular basis, and he also kept a supply of water and granola bars in the basement and installed a security system. So what he was doing was setting up his post. So he had to have food and water. Granola bars are something that's not perishable. You can just have them. I'm up here recording, and I have my snacks up here as well. Mine's usually chocolate, but so that's what he was doing. So on November 22nd of 2012, Byron drove down to his neighbor's house and parked in front of his neighbor's house. He saw Haile drive past and mentioned that he needed to get ready for her. Now, this is my question. How did he know it was her? I'm not understanding, because when I first started listening to or seeing this and listening to this episode or case, I didn't realize he knew who the burglars were, but it sounds to me like he knew. I mean, he had the surveillance. If he had the surveillance system put in, he could have shown the police this, but I don't think he had it installed yet. But he mentioned that he needed to get ready for her. He already suspected her of the burglaries now, so that, like I said, I don't get that. So he went to his house and removed the light bulbs from his ceiling so they couldn't see. So to make it dark, they, didn't think anybody was downstairs. He started a recording on a recording device and sat in his reclining chair, and that was his post to wait for his intruders. He was also hidden, so he was kind of like in an area where they couldn't see if they started coming down to the basement. They wouldn't see him right away. And they also probably wouldn't be able to see where the shots were coming from. So he heard a window break. Now this is Byron. So when he heard the window break, this is when Nicholas entered the home. This is on the surveillance. So this is on his security system. He waited for about 12 minutes when Nicholas started coming down the stairs. Byron shot him after he saw his hips. When he saw his hips come in, his feet, legs, and hips, he shot. After he shot him, he went up to Nicholas as he laid at the bottom of the stairs, shot him in the head. Then he said, quote, "You're dead." After insulting his dead body, he wrapped him in a tarp and dragged him into a room nearby in the basement. He went upstairs, came back down after about 10 minutes to reload his gun, and there's 2 accounts here. One said he reloaded it after he came back. Another one said you can hear him reloading it after he killed Nicholas on the recording. But he went back down, reloaded, and waited for Haile. She was calling for Nicholas. She was whispering his name as she walked toward, started walking down the stairs. Now, this was about 20 minutes after Nicholas got inside, and she was wondering where he was. It was taking him a while. So as she started walking down the stairs, Byron shot her, and she fell down onto the floor. Then Byron went up to her and said, "Sorry about that," real smart-ass like. And Haile said, "Oh my God." And Byron shot her many times in the stomach as she was screaming. He did the same to her. as he did to Nicholas. He insulted her dead body, called her a bitch, and then dragged her into the other room, laying her on top of Nicholas's body, and then he shot her one last time under her chin. His security system recorded this whole thing. Haile had been shot 6 times total. So he had surveillance inside and outside, is what it sounds like to me. Now, Byron did not call police about the intruders. He waited until the following day because he said he didn't want to ruin police officers' Thanksgiving. So he waited till Black Friday to call. Byron claimed that Haile laughed at him after she fell down the stairs. The recording does not show her laughing. You cannot, she wasn't laughing. She was screaming. Byron claimed he was no longer living in fear. And that's why he did what he did. From the other break-ins that he said he had. So now what he did was he recorded several hours of audio before this whole thing happened, before they broke in. He recorded himself talking. And quote, I've got quotes here. I don't see them as human. I see them as vermin. And one thing he said was, quote, in your left eye. And, quote, I realize I don't have an appointment, but I would like to see one of the lawyers here. Okay, now Haile was shot in her left eye. This was from the recording that he had, and he had hid it he had it hidden in a bookcase under downstairs during the shootings, and it was hidden inside the bookcase. And I guess he had it because he didn't want people to find it. He was rehearsing what he was going to do and say after the shootings in an interrogation. That's where the lawyer part came in. Now, his defense attorney claimed that this was a big misunderstanding. He only did this because he was scared he only did the shootings because he was scared. He had no idea that they were who they were burglarizing him. But this is the thing. He said he was going to wait for Haile. I'm just trying to understand how he knew to wait for her when he saw her drive by from the neighbor's house, that he knew it was her. But anyway, he also said things like, this is a quote, I am not a bleeding heart liberal. I feel like I was cleaning up a mess. Not like spilled food, not like vomit, not like diarrhea. I was doing my civic duty. If the law enforcement system couldn't handle it, I had to do it. The law system couldn't handle her, and it fell into my lap, and she dropped her problem in my lap. And she threw her own problem in my face. I had to clean it up. That was the quote. Now, I don't know if this was on audio or if he said it in his interrogation, but he planned out the shootings. So he was charged with second-degree murder, and this is the thing. Planning out the shootings is premeditation. So it wasn't like they broke in and he's like, oh, and they surprised him, and then he was in fear for his life. They didn't even have any, I don't think they were armed with anything. They thought he was gone. They didn't even know he was home. So he was charged with second-degree murder, but then on April of 2013, he was indicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder. The Little Falls community was divided after this, and people debated on protecting your own home and property. So if people were unlawfully entering your home, breaking a window basically as being a break-in, you were allowed to shoot them. A debate followed about Florida's stand your ground law. Now this was Minnesota, and it is known, in Minnesota it's known as a reasonable person doctrine within reason. Once the threat is removed, you are not to execute someone by law, saying after the first shot the person is no longer a threat. That's what they're saying. It's not like he shot him once and then called 911 and said, you got to get here, I shot this kid who broke into my house. So that's where the debate is. His trial was on April 21st of 2014, and jury only deliberated for 3 hours. He was found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder with premeditation and 2 counts of second-degree murder, and got life in prison without parole. And the reason why they really knew this is because of the recordings. He made these recordings, and it's weird because I really don't know why he did that. But the audio recordings, like I said, are what made them find him guilty. And he tried appealing, and his lawyers filed a petition, and they were all denied. He's serving his time at the Oak Park Heights prison. I have no idea why he made the recording. That I don't understand. I understand putting surveillance up if you want to protect your home and you want video, uh, you know, evidence. Really, that's all he had to do. Put up the evidence. If they would have saw him in the basement and he would have said, "What are you doing here?" that would have scared him away. And then he could have went to the police and said, "Look at this. This is what happened." Not doing what he did, especially that poor girl. She was not laughing at him. You don't shoot somebody. Somebody shot, I don't see being shot laughing. And I don't know if this was in his head, that this is what he thought she was doing. I mean, I don't know. And I didn't see anything on his mental status when I looked this up and was reading about it. It didn't say anything about that I found. So if he had like a condition, I'm kind of surprised that they did not talk about that. But maybe it was in the recording that they were just like, well, he's a monster. He did this and he murdered him, and that's true, he did. And oh my gosh, it's just so, the whole thing is sad in this case. The whole thing is. Yeah, they shouldn't have been at all breaking in someone's house. And I don't know. They were young kids. I don't understand why they were doing it. So I don't know. This is a really one to really debate on. What do you think about this? You can message or you can comment on Spotify, and I've got my info in the show notes. If you're on Instagram, Facebook. Oh, and my Facebook page right now, we are doing some true crime trivia in there. I've got some trivia questions in there, taken from a book that one of my fans sent me, one of my supporters sent me. Thank you for the gift to Pam, from Pam. She sent me that, and she sent me the true crime calendar, which I got to get caught up on. So, thank you, Pam, for that. That is so sweet to send me those gifts. But I love bringing these stories to you, and I'm very, very happy that I've been doing this for over 2 years. It was, 2 years, almost 2.5. So I'm amazed that I've made it this far and done. I was doing, for this whole time, I was doing an episode a week unless I got sick or something came up. And then I had to go to 2 weeks because I'm also really busy with work and doing episodes for Patreon and Spotify Premium. So, and then I also do my art. I also do my full-time job as well. So I'm always doing something. So I just wanted to thank everybody, and I hope this uploads good in this new recording I'm trying to do here. So I started watching, I'm still watching the new Dexter. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I haven't watched today's yet, but I will later. And I'm trying to think of what else. A new season of Very Scary People is out. And I have got to watch the one Sunday because I think it's the one about the woman, or about there was a documentary on Netflix a long time ago about the guy that had a bomb strapped to him and was out on the street, and on camera, on the news surveillance, camera footage, it blew up. And I can't remember the name of the documentary on Netflix, but there was a woman who was responsible for the whole thing. There's more in like to go into, but I want to see it because there's a lot I don't remember about that story. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, let me know. Because I'm trying to remember the name of the documentary that was on Netflix. I'm pretty sure that's going to be featured on Sunday nights ID, Very Scary People. Um, I like that series. I think it's really, really good. Trying to think if there's anything else to recommend that I've been watching. I don't think there is. I did watch the documentary on Paramount Plus about the Tylenol poisonings. I'm still watching that, by the way. There's more episodes in that than I thought. I remember when that happened. I remember my mom freaking out in 1982 about the Tylenol murders, and that is horribly sad. And I hate the fact that it's unsolved. But I think this shows who did it, and people know who did it, but it just can't be proven. So that's a good one to check out if you haven't watched it yet. It's called Painkiller. And that's a good one. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and let me know what you think of this horrible, horrible case here. And I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend and that you're staying safe. We just had some snowfall, but it's not bad. We had some snowfall overnight. But it hasn't been bad here at all, really. We've actually been pretty lucky. We're in central Illinois, and I know St. Louis area was really bad. And then what's going on in California is horrible. And my thoughts are with the people in Southern California. This has got to be horrible. And I'm hoping everybody is doing okay out there. So let's, have them in our thoughts, and my heart goes out to them. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time.